Your Excellency Margaret, Bishop, our chief guest, where has he gone to? Maybe the message was too hot for him, he's a man. And then all protocols observed. I want to greet you this morning. How are you? You didn't say you are hungry, so it's okay. I want to thank God for this day. I'm Dr. Jean Kagia'S, you have been told. I'm the chairperson of an organization called Protecting Life Movement Trust. This is an organization started in the year 2000 by churches and parachurch organizations. At that time, the question was, if anybody wanted to legalize abortion in Kenya, what would the church do? And out of a lot of discussion, we said, let's start an organization. Let's educate people as to what is abortion. What are the causes of abortion? What are the complications of abortion? What are the alternatives to abortion? And how can we prevent legalization of abortion? So for some reason, I had been the chair of the Christian Doctors Fellowship. And so I was asked to chair that group of people. And we chaired and we got a name. We said, okay, let's use protecting, because pro-life has a lot of political implication. Let's use the word protect. So we came up with the protection. But before too long, there was this constitutional review. You remember? And then the question was, is abortion going to be put in the Constitution? So we hit the ground, and now started representing the church. I was one of the technical advisors. And I want to thank God for all those who participated. You remember, the Constitution says, life of a person starts at conception, and it's everybody's right. So the rest you know. As we went on, we were able to share this message with everybody. But during the constitutional review, somebody came and said, you church, you religious leaders, you have no moral authority to fight abortion, because you are the ones who are sending out girls from the choir to go for abortion. You are the ones who are sending your children for abortion, etc., etc. So you cannot tell us to stop it. Then I looked at it and we realized one thing. Actually, that unplanned pregnancy is not a medical problem. It is a social problem. Anytime you give the wrong treatment to the wrong disease, the wrong treatment to a disease, you get complications. So if you have a social problem, a girl has been rejected, and you go and take her to abortion, she'll have complications. She will bleed, she'll have psychological, she may never have the children, a whole battery of them. And therefore the question was, should we come up with a social solution? As an example for the church, I think Bishop Adoyo remembers. So we came up with this solution of what we call a rescue center, called a rescue Kiota. A Kiota, for those who know Swahili, is a bird's nest. And this one we said, it was coined by the people in Muranga. And we said, all the girls who are rejected, let them come to us. We shall give them first and foremost accommodation. We shall give them counseling. We shall give them, we facilitate antenatal care. We give life skills. We give life skills in life. And we give them Bible studies. They have a very good Bible study book which is called The Woman of Worth. Even if your family rejects you, God doesn't reject you. And then they also do a Bible study on life skills from Scripture Union called Life Skills for Young People. So we started that rescue center. And I remember the day that it was a Bishop Summit during the constitutional review. I came up with our concept paper. It was in red. I remember our color was red for no. So I remember sharing it and saying, this is what we are proposing. And I remember Bishop Makariuk standing and saying, praise God, we have now a moral authority because we are going to look after the girls. And of course, the rest is history. So we've been going on in that work, which we started in 2011. And we have rescued more than 200 girls, plus their babies. And the home is somewhere in Muranga. Somebody give us, initially was given a house. Later somebody was told by God, that's my work. Please go and give those people an acre of your land in Muranga. And they give us an acre of land. So that's where now we have established our center. Now, so that I don't take too long, I wanted to give you just an introduction. So it was 2021, if you remember very well, that there was one time a report in the paper, you media people, that there are so many girls in Machakos, teenagers who are pregnant. And my immediate reaction, oh, so the pro-abortion people want to sell abortion now. Then I asked myself, many teenagers? As a doctor, a teenager hardly reports a pregnancy very early. COVID has been in for just a short time. 2, there's a lockdown. Border boys are not there, to boyfriends are not there, to teachers are not there. So who is making these girls pregnant? So they said, a little about statistics. Please go back. Yes. So I said, let us go and find out. And I looked at our statistics, and I saw that between 2011 to the beginning of COVID, the incidence of incest was 11%. Then I looked at the cases that we had admitted. You see, first of all, the numbers have come very quickly. We had 30 girls. Out of those 30 girls, 10 were from incest. So we moved from 11% to 33%. What was even more annoying, I'm going to use the word annoying, out of those 10, 3 were from grandfathers. Does it hit you hard? The people who should be trusted with the children are the ones who are now. Can you imagine a big grandfather sleeping with like a small girl? It is not even correct in any society, leave alone the religious one. Go next slide. Oh, this color is too light. We need some. Can we do something about it to make it legible? Or maybe you put off that light. So I said, my figures are very small. Can we look for somebody who has been doing this work for long? So I went to the gender-based violence group. They give a free 1195 toll line. And I said, why don't would you have some statistics for the last 3 years? He said, yes, we have them for incest. And those are the figures that we got. They had 160 cases. And they analyzed, I have highlighted what I want you to take home very quickly, that out of those, first of all, these were never reported. Most of them were reported by neighbors, people around, but not the family. So 36% were from fathers. What is a father supposed to do? Men, protect, love, provide. They are the leaders. So Machakos was right. Babies are being made in the house, not with their wives, but with their children. Uncles came, and let's go to the next slide. So if you look at this slide, this is the breakdown from the National Gender-Based Desk. Look, 59 out of 160 were from men, from our fathers, 36 were from uncles, 16 were from cousins, 14 were from grandfathers, 20 stepfathers, 7 by brothers, 5 by brothers-in-law, 2 by stepbrothers, 1 by step-grandfather. My dear Kenyans, who is this girl safe with? Who is she safe with? Nobody in that gender. And that's why I like the message that was brought. Thank you, Father. We need to know, what are our men doing? Thank you, Your Excellency. What is the man doing? Is he nurturing the family or destroying it? Then I said, okay, those are figures. Let's look at what our law enforcers have. So I wrote a letter to the Inspector General of Police. I didn't even know him. But I want to tell you, the police have such good data, very well kept, and within 3 days I got the statistics. Let's go through. You can see, you may not see very well, but again for 3 years, they had 660 cases, highlighting that the girl child were 89.98%. So the girl child is the biggest culprit. The boys are not left behind, with about 9%. Then they had analyzed which counties have reported more. This does not mean that they are the counties that had more people. It's the one which was aware and was doing something and reporting. From gender-based violence group and from the police, I got one message. Doctor, thank you for trying to get all this information, but I want to tell you, one, what you are getting is a small tip of the iceberg. Two, we promise you it is very difficult to penetrate this problem. If you have a way of exposing it, please do it. We shall support you, but we don't know how you'll do it. Before I could finish, even start thinking of what to do, we get a case to put fire in me. A man makes his child pregnant, around a teenage. The girl gives birth to a baby girl. Now, last year, but one, the same man made the baby of the baby pregnant. Somebody reported that the man was apprehended. When he went in, his wife and all his relatives started threatening the person who reported. Her life was in danger. Why? Si anaingilia family. That's how far we have gone. So that now, when I got that case, I said, whether it is me fighting alone, I am going to go, but God help me bring people. You have 55 million. I'm sure you can get a few remnants. Let's go on. So I had to start now thinking, probably as a doctor, what is the problem of incest? First of all, the physical trauma. I hope you all read about the story of the girl who died earlier in the year, a few months ago. This is a girl of about 10 who had been violated by an uncle. He did so much damage there that she had to go through operations to try to reconstruct her. Unfortunately, she died after the 3rd operation. So the amount of damage which is down there, we as gynecologists, sometimes we don't know where the anatomy is. You know, we are taught what is normal. What is abnormal is something you have never seen anywhere. So you have to start thinking, what do you do? And nobody seems to think of the danger and the damage they are doing on that little girl whose reproductive organs are not ready for that action. Even if they were not from such a big man with a big thing. Then psychological. These children are traumatized. I remember one time being called to go and see whether we can have a place in our rescue center. And somebody, a teacher, called me and said, we have this girl. I said, what's wrong with the girl? Said, you see, she was in class, Saturday 4-ish, and the teacher noticed this girl is not concentrating in school. She's just withdrawn, and she sat there. So the teacher asked her what's wrong, and to cut the whole long story short, she told the teacher, I don't want you, I don't want anything, I don't want school, I don't want anything, I don't. So the question is, why don't you want? So she said, you see, my father beat my mother, and my mother ran away. My mother left me with my father. My father has been doing bad manners on me. Now I was told I was pregnant. He took me for an abortion. It was very painful. I do not want anything, and I don't want anybody. So the question is, what do you do with this child? They were asking, do you have a place for her to come in? This was from the children's department. What am I trying to say? Is that we have a society which has developed what I'm calling social orphans. They're in your house, okay? But they're orphans. There's nobody to protect them. And that's why I feel we should all be angry enough to go. First of all, bring it out in the public and fight it. So you can look at all the other things which happen to the person, the low self-esteem, the depression, the what. And by the way, by the time they grow big as adults, those who end up getting married, they have turbulent marriages because of what they went through. We were told the other day of a woman of 49 whose marriage broke. But when the counselor was counseling her, she went back to discover it was because of the incest that she had gone through. So it's not just that little child you're affecting a society which is going to come up. Some of them are involved in drugs and alcohol because they cannot cope with the thing. And what are we doing as a society? Oh, there's a lot of mental illness in the schools. Who can come up with a program of diagnosing and dealing with it? We are causing it in the house. And we are keeping quiet. The religious leaders. I am hoping you are now getting worked up to go and get programs to the youth, to the Sunday school, to the women ministries, to everybody to protect our children. No, go back, we have not finished. Now, I want to touch on the other two and say here that one of the things that got me very excited in this is when somebody came and told me, do you know the National Syndemic Group, the Disease Control Council, is dealing with a triple threat? I said, what's a triple threat? They told me HIV, adolescent pregnancy, and adolescent GBV. And quickly I told my mind, what is the worst GBV? It is incest. So I had to find out who Dr. Masha is. We had never met. I went to her office, and I told her, do you know this is the worst thing that happens? Can we, as we are talking about HIV, emphasize on incest? Why? It is the mother of the other two. These girls are getting pregnant. So as you are removing the pregnancy, imunaita miba ya utotoni, the adolescent pregnancy is born out of incest. HIV, there are some people who believe in some cultures that if a man sleeps with a virgin, the HIV is cured. So again, there is that HIV brought in from incest. So incest is the mother of all of them. And I want to say I'm very, very happy with this group because they have gone to look at the social root cause of some of these problems. I'm sure they will be sharing their data, which will show you that HIV in adolescence is increasing. It is increasing yet. Why is it increasing from? Mainly from the home. So we have to sort out this home issue. We have to sort out the home issue. And we are hoping these men who are here listening, and they're going to mobilize all the men. Mr. Nyaga, you have a big job. Let's go on. Now, but let's look at why this thing is swept under the carpet. You know, in the African culture, we hardly talk about sexuality. It's quiet, you know. It's supposed to be known but not talked about. It's kind of sacred. Most parents do not discuss sexuality with their children. But those who do, we get good reports. There was one child who, I'll give this a true story. A small child of nursery. The grandfather was not well. He came to live with them as he went to school. She went to hospital. And one day she ran to the mother and told, Mommy, can I tell you a secret? Yeah, what's a secret? Yeah, I want to tell you a secret. Yeah. So he said, you know, since Grandpa came, You know, he's nice. He puts me on his laps. And then Grandpa put his hand here and asked me whether I was feeling nice. Mommy, what is feeling nice? So the mother now is getting worked up. And then he went on. And then he said, and then, why I came to tell you now, he told me he has something there, he can put something in me. Mommy, what is that? What would you do if you are the mother? What would you do with your father? This is his father. Anyway, so if mothers discuss what is good for them with their children, however young they are, they'll have that freedom of sharing when somebody does something about it. But woe unto the children whose mothers are siding with the fathers. We have this girl of 10 the father slept with her. And the girl told the mother and the father sat down. They gave her a beating. Never said that or tell anybody. The man went on. By 11 years, he had made her pregnant. I took her for an abortion. By 12, he had made her pregnant again and given another abortion. And it went on until the third one. Socially, when a teacher recognized this child had a behavior which was not normal, they discovered it is because she gave the truth. And the third abortion was done because she told the mother, I was just delayed because I was talking to the teacher. What about? Unajua na watoto yake? She just gave the story. So she was taken for the last abortion. Then the teacher was told what had happened. The man was apprehended. When he was apprehended, the girl went home. She found her mother and her auntie baying for her blood. You cannot let your father go in. We go out and you tell the teachers, tell the police that the teacher asked you to frame your father. So the girl said, Mommy, you know the truth. I'm the one who told the teacher. First of all, you did not even tell me where you threw my baby when it came out. It's a long story. But what am I trying to bring up? I'm trying to bring up the fact that we have a problem and a social problem. Then, in some cultures, thank you, Madam, who talked to us about taboos and cultures and stigma. So nobody wants to talk about it. But why can't we go back to those cultures and tell them that if having an incest baby is a taboo, why don't we stop the taboo action in the first place? We are adults and understanding. Then, you religious leaders, I think you got a cold and lost your voice. You are quiet. We want to hear you. You're supposed to be the moral conscience of the society. What are you doing in those places? You have an exposure of children. You have youth. You have fathers. You have mothers. You have everybody. They are all there and they are coming freely. Of course, they pay sadaka. But they come freely to you. And they have confidence in you. Why can't you come with a program that you tell people, this is wrong? And if you find a member who is doing it, please, even if he gives you a tithe of $1 million, please refuse the tithe and expose him. You people, you have a big job. When you go to madrasa, are you telling your children the same? This, when you talk of religious people, it's everybody. Then there's a problem of ignorance. Even if I know I'm going through incest, where do I report? How many people know that there is a gender violence desk in every police station? How many among you know that? Maybe very few. Not only that, okay, they have a rent for $11.95 or so and so. How will a 10-year-old report, even if she knew it was wrong? She doesn't have a phone. She doesn't know. So she'll just be molested and killed in the house. And then we have to deal with this protection. We have to deal with this protection. because the perpetrators are being protected. Remember the story I said first, that even the in-laws of this lady have ganged up with the lady so that they fight for her husband as they destroy the two children, the daughter and the granddaughter. What kind of a society is this? Tell me. What kind of a society? There are others who have communities that organize kangaroo courts. Nyumba kumi, everybody. Hii ni mambo ya kinyumbani. Thank you, Father. Some of them even kill a goat to pacify the whole thing. The girl was not even given a piece of meat to eat. They eat the meat and the matter is finished. So we have to ask ourselves what we are doing. Then we have the judicial system. In most cases, these cases go on forever until either the child has outgrown, until the body is tired, until there has been enough time for compromising, whatever it is, but justice is not given. But here I want to say, one of the judges called me last week, and she told me, hey, you know God is answering your prayer. I asked her, which one? She said, do you know, we are starting to have gender violent courts established in Kenya. So we are getting somewhere. Bishop, we are going to push them. Can you make those gender violence courts to have emergency cover? So if somebody is brought by the police, was caught with the daughter is, because if you release them, she'll go back to the same man. Pick that man, take him for a quick case, lock him in, and remove him from the society. You saw this man from Kirinyaga, a pastor who was jailed for 140 years because of his two girls. That's the kind of thing we want to be done immediately. Not to keep on saying, okay, we are repeating this. No, catch these people and put them in. Even if it's your son, let him go and face. And by the way, the case of brothers is becoming very serious. We had to look after one girl who was 14, made pregnant by her brother, 15 or so. And the parents realized she was getting bigger. So when she was asked, she said, yes, my brother. So I don't know how they reprimanded the brother. But when they woke up in the morning, the brother had hanged himself. And he was dead. Now I asked, Lord, forgive me. But do I say it as good riddance? I don't know. But now the question is, this pregnancy is big. They said if the baby is born in that family, all of them will die. I don't know whether there's scripture in that, or maybe they were not Christians. So they sent the girl to Nairobi to her auntie, and the auntie got us, and then she brought her to us. The girl went ahead, got a baby. The baby was adopted, being a taboo baby, and the girl went home. Imagine they didn't die. So then I thought, quickly, you are religious people. The Christian culture, thank you, Bishop, for reminding us. Thank you, where's my son? Sheikh, he has gone. Hassan Kenywa, telling us about Islamic. I had to find out what does the Hadith say. And I even went to the Hindu. So these are the main religions in Kenya, and none of them is for incest. So can we all get up and remind people what is written in the Quran, what is written in the Hadith, what is written in the Gita, what is written in the Bible? Even if you go to the African culture, there was this, no, it was not allowed. Let's go on. And then there is the Sexual Offences Act. You'd see in a clip describing what is incest is. But I was happy to see that if anybody has a knowledge, sexual knowledge of a child under 18, the offender should be sent to jail for life, whether there is consent or not. And do you know many lawyers are helping the culprit by telling them, okay, when you go there, make it into defilement, because incest is a very bad thing. And not depending on who the judge is. But they should go in for life. And that's what I was saying. With these GBV courts, Can they be emergency? They are dealt with quickly and it's whisked out of the society and you throw away the rotten apple. Let's go on. So how do we stop this incest? I think first of all is to deal with anybody who deals with the children. Those are the schools. They are with the child all through. The child has confidence in the teacher, and they are likely to tell them stories. Children, by the way, tell teacher stories. If you want to know what happens in a family, ask the teacher. You know, mommy and daddy was beating my mommy last night, and she ran out, and she slept in the cold. A child will tell the teacher. And to her, she's telling a story. So they are the same ones who are likely to find that this child is dressing differently, this child is not walking very well, this child has withdrawn all of a sudden, and can sit quietly and teach the child, ask the child the problem. So where you are teaching the child, in schools, academic teaching, then we come to the moral teachings that we are teaching them in our religious institutions. If they go to madrasa, include that topic very clearly. When you come to the temples, let it be mentioned. When you go to the churches, oh, you church leaders, I keep on telling you, you have free people who are ready to listen, and they are going to listen to you, and even pay you for listening. So give them all the information. Make programs for Sunday school for children to know it's wrong. Involve the youth groups. Involve the young professionals. Involve even the women's ministry. And I'm glad we have Mrs. Adoyo here. She is the chairperson of the Christian Women of Kenya. Mrs. Adoyo, please can you come up with a formula of what we shall do to make women wake up and respect their motherhood. So we need the faith-based people at the forefront of this fight. Then we shall involve the Ministry of Education. I don't know whether there's anybody here from the ministry. Is Mr. Kariuki here? We had invited somebody from the TSC. You know, these people are looking after the people who are looking after the children. You may not know. There are some teachers who have lost their jobs because they got a story, they reported it to the principal. The story was investigated, it was found it was true, but who is the father of that child? A top somebody. So they are removed because of spreading such information. You want to tell me to sit down? Let me talk to these people. But I'm not very far from finishing. So when you come to the education sector, we must have people who are looking after children being protected. We must empower them with the knowledge that if you get that child, what do you do with her? Like that lady who didn't know what to do, a teacher who didn't know what to do with the child, after she knew, the child went home and told the mother, the teacher was asking me, and I said, if she was empowered, she would have kept the child with her. But the child went home and ended up with an abortion. So we have to empower them and make sure that they have protection. Then this is what has excited me recently. The work of NDCC, the National Syndemic Disease Control. Because when they are fighting the social reasons, the social causes of the HIV, the gender, the incest, and the pregnancy, they have gone to the rural areas, to the communities. I had the privilege of attending one of their meetings in Kwale, where they had the county commissioners, the assistants, they had chiefs, the assistants, they had the religious leaders, they had Yumbakumi, they had elders, they had everybody brought together and talked to about the three threats. And what is happening is because they're able to go to the county level, where everything has been hidden down and covered, people start talking. So we are looking forward to a time when everybody will shout at the mountaintops. And because they have been, Madam CEO, please come and sit here, karibu sana. Yeah. I think you'll be introduced, but there are many madams, but this is Madam CEO of this organization, which I was telling you, has come to a point where they have seen the reason for social involvement in fighting these three threats. And I applaud you for that. I mean, women are not reporting, men are not reporting. It takes one woman to realize the value of motherhood, to realize the value of children, to say, I'm going to be the mother of Kenyan children. I'm going to protect them from their guardians and parents. This is exciting. So if you can go and support the work that they are doing by reinforcing it at the community level, you will do a very good thing. And all of you are from all over, from the communities, from the counties. When they come to your county, get even other church religious leaders to go there. If they go to mosque, let them go. Let them listen and know what it means about this. Now, we had talked a little bit about the judiciary. We are glad that now they are going to have GBV courts. We're going to talk about parachurch organizations. There are many organizations that deal with the youth. I'm glad we have one of the youth pastors, a young pastor who is doing a lot of work on the youth. Let's see how we can bring up all this youth. We have those people who do scripture union. They come with materials for the young people. They have programs in the primary schools, high schools. In fact, one of the counselors from there was telling me when they were counseling young people with mental illness, they're saying, is it possible for us to stay in school during the holiday? I said, why? I don't want Daddy to go and do it to me again this holiday. I was talking to another reverend who was with a university as a chaplain. He told me he had to cancel many girls. They started being violated when they were small. Now they're at the university and they're saying, can we stay in the university without going home during the vacation? We don't want it to be done. You know, uncle is still there. But daddy is still there. They are going to do it. And I don't want it to be done, and I have nowhere to go. Are you saying that we have a problem? I am hoping so. Then we have a lot of NGOs that deal with the children and children's welfare. Look at the areas where you can collaborate with them. You may not agree with all their things, but at least look at an area where you can work with them and rescue our children. Media, I'm glad the media has come. And we are happy with the media, but they could do more. Whether it is the print, whether it is the electronic, whether it is social. And by the way, we are doing a social media campaign. We've done it for 2 weeks. We are going to continue. If you go to the YouTubes, you'll be told how it is done. Me, I don't know. But you can read those things about this campaign. It's going to come out, and it's been coming out, and many people are now speaking, saying, yes, I know somebody, yes, I was done. And that is the conversation we want to go on. But media people, please do more. Highlight. When we read of a man who recently, the one who had a child of 10, and the girl used to say in the morning that she's feeling pain down there. The father would tell her, yeah, I think the devil visited. And when they went to call the magistrate, yes, the devil visited. It was him. And he would give that child alcohol so that when the girl has slept, he would do everything. But in the morning, she feels the pain. This had to be said in a court. So he was told, where Shetani? You know, Satan has a lot of problems. Because even where people bear false witness against him, why don't you leave him alone? Even the one who went for 40 years, you know, he also blames Satan. But you know, Satan alindanganya. How is a man of God fellowshipping with Satan to be advised? Are those what you are calling fake pastors or what? I have no idea. But you can see what I mean. Media people, please shout it on the rooftops. make it a national conversation. And then I was thinking probably we could have, even schools, they usually have yearly music festivals, we have drama festivals, all those competitions. They can be brought in, and we can use them as a way of disseminating information. And then, of course, we can involve the corporate sector. They do a lot of social things, but you can ask them to specifically help with this incest campaign. And this, I want first of all to say we are very, very grateful. You are going to see the content that we have made. We have made documentaries. We have made clips for the social media. And we were financed partly by the Cooperative Bank of Kenya. So if we go to the banks, if you go to these people who have a bit more money, you know, they're keeping all the money when you have none in the pocket. If you go to them and they give, we can go ahead. So let us go on. So what am I saying? It's a call to action. We must actively break this silence. 2, we must take a strategy of how to stop the incest. You don't just make noise. If you see a hyena there, say there's a hyena. Run after it and kill it, or a snake. So we have found a snake. Why don't we kill it? The next thing, we have documentaries which you can show in your mosque, in your schools, in your churches, and we avail them to anybody who wants to show them. They are free. We'll give you links and things like that so that you show them and get everybody ready to do it. And then any platform you get, if there's a birthday party, somehow throw in a word about incest. Oh, this girl looks so beautiful. Hey, I hope you uncles are not looking at her as a beautiful girl. You know, you have thrown a word of incest. Yeah. Or you see a brother with a daughter. Oh, that's your sister. I hope you're protecting your little sister. You know, you start throwing words everywhere. And then you report all the cases. Do not hide them. Even if he's the elder of your church. You can take him to the police at night if you're worried about the congregation knowing. But remove him. And then pray for morality in this country. I think the moral degradation in this society is a bit too much. Remember, somebody quoted Wangari Maathai in the Humming Band. You can do a little thing on your corner. And to this, I want to applaud once again somebody who has worked for the children of Kenya. This lady, please stand up. Please clap for her. She's Dr. Ruth Masha. She's a CEO of this national syndemic, for those who don't know her. Imagine, I was thinking the other day, sit down. I was imagining the other day, can you imagine somebody, I haven't asked her how many children she has, or whether she has girls, that she sat down and she thought, we must fight for these children. And when we talked about incest to her, she said, yes, that we have to speak around. So if we had another Masha and another one and another one, another Excellency Mrs. Kagia'S, you know, we can fill this whole country with a message and we can take action. So remember, you being people of the Bible, there's a question that is asked in Isaiah 49, verse 15. Can a woman's tender care cease towards the child she's breastfeeding and the child she has delivered? Unfortunately, the mothers in this nation, except a few like Mrs. Masha and Mrs. Kagia'S, and a few of us, have abandoned. They have stopped loving. In fact, I was thinking, and I put it there, I think I want to give Mrs. Masha a name, a new name. I want to call her Mama Huruma. Please clap for her. I think we call her Mama Huruma. The Bible is talking about compassion on the children. She has her compassion.